The spiritual awakening process has many difficult stages, meant to help us grow and develop spiritually. But the twin flame dark night of the soul may be one of the most difficult experiences a person can go through. In this article, I aim to shed some light upon this topic and to help those who are currently dealing with this challenge. To do this, I am going to explain what the twin flame dark night of the soul is, and what are the signs that show you are going through it, as well as tips on how to emerge from it as a better, more powerful version of yourself. What is a twin flame dark night of the soul? A twin flame dark night of the soul is a rather new spiritual concept, which stemmed from the fact that it was noticed how the dark night of the soul and the twin flame journey are sometimes happening almost simultaneously, having a powerful impact on the person experiencing them. Thus, the twin flame dark night of the soul is the experience in which the dark night of the soul and the twin flame journey are interconnected. Now, these two spiritual experiences can be interconnected in many ways. In some cases, the dark night of the soul can be triggered by the meeting of one's twin flame. In other cases, the dark night of the soul begins first, and the person meets their twin flame as a part of the dark night. Many people ask themselves if during the twin flame dark night of the soul, both twins go through the dark night of the soul simultaneously. My honest belief is that this is not always the case. Even if they are twin flames, people still have different spiritual journeys, and they deal with different challenges. Sometimes twin flames can experience the dark night of the soul at the same time, but it is not always the case. It all depends on the stage of their journey and how far from union they are. What is the purpose of the twin flame dark night of the soul? The purpose of the twin flame dark night of the soul is to help you grow and evolve spiritually, shedding light on the wounds that you still have to heal to become your best, most healed and powerful version of yourself. Meeting your twin flame will reflect those aspects of you that are related to relationships and that still need healing. Also, depending on how the union process goes, you can see how far you are from becoming the best version of yourself. During the dark night of the soul, the universe makes you face your deepest fears and insecurities, as well as paying your heaviest karmic debts. The dark night of the soul and your twin flame journey go well hand in hand because they both serve the purpose of showing you where there are still unhealed aspects of yourself or heavy karma to pay. If you take a close look at the heavy karma that is still unpaid, you will understand what spiritual lessons you failed to understand in your previous lives. And also you can make sure you're not repeating the mistakes in this life. Thus, the dark night of the soul and the twin flame journey form together the twin flame dark night of the soul, and is a spiritual experience meant to help you heal at fast speed everything that was not healed before, or to understand any spiritual lesson not previously understood. The twin flame dark night of the soul is an incredibly difficult experience, which can oftentimes feel excruciatingly painful, and can leave some people feeling lost, desperate, and hopeless. Before I delve into how to emerge from this experience as a healed, more powerful version of yourself, have a look at the following 10 signs that you are going through the twin flame dark night of the soul. Signs of a twin flame dark night of the soul. 1. You are experiencing the main symptoms of the dark night of the soul. The first sign that you are in twin flame dark night of the soul is that you find yourself living all the symptoms of the dark night of the soul. The main symptoms of the dark night of the soul are life-altering difficult experiences such as losses or illness that have a huge impact on your life, continuous somatic symptoms with no medical cause, feeling disoriented, lost, and hopeless, and having the feeling that your whole world has crashed. Many people also experience depression, anxiety, or other mental issues which need psychological or psychiatric help, depending on their severity. The purpose of the dark night of the soul is to dismantle what you previously believed to be true about yourself and the world, and to show some deeper, more profound spiritual meanings of life. This more profound meaning of life can only be achieved after learning the karmic lessons which you failed to understand in your past lives, and after doing all the necessary healing to become the best version of yourself. 2. You have met your twin flame. Approximately in the same period as starting your dark night of the soul, you also meet your twin flame and start dealing with the pain of going through the twin flame journey. If we speak about the twin flame dark night of the soul, these two events should somehow be interconnected, For example, in my case, I met my twin flame about 2 years after the dark night of the soul had already started, and they helped strengthen the lessons that were there to learn since it had started. 3. You're stuck in the same loop. When you're in a twin flame dark night of the soul, the universe will have you repeat the same patterns and situations and even meet similar people until you learn the karmic lesson and start making different choices. The more you fail to understand your lessons, the more you will repeat the same cycles of failed jobs or relationships, which will eventually make you understand what is the lesson behind all of it. 4. You've lost any sense of direction. In a twin flame dark night of the soul, you feel that you have lost your direction more than in a regular dark night of the soul. First, the dark night of the soul makes you feel like losing your direction, makes you experience existential dread and doubt, and gives you the feeling that life is empty and meaningless. Second, separation from your twin flame is a very painful event that makes you feel like you've lost a big part of yourself and makes you feel even more lost and confused. If you're going through the twin flame dark night of the soul, the feeling that you are lost and confused will be more powerful than any feelings of confusion ever experienced before. It will feel like strong emptiness and desperation, and maybe sometimes it will also make you lose your faith. If you're dealing with this, it is important to not lose your faith and to try and accept that whatever you're dealing with right now is meant to help you grow and evolve. 5. You and your twin flame experience separation. One common sign of the twin flame dark night of the soul, as that during it you and your twin flame will go through the separation stage. The twin flame dark night of the soul most likely will include the first stage of the twin flame journey, which is the honeymoon phase, the phase in which you've just met and everything is going great. But for the dark night of the soul to be connected to your twin flame journey, at some point you will experience the painful separation process. The separation will either trigger your twin flame dark night of the soul, or it will just deepen it, showing you once again which aspects of yourself need healing. 6. You experience instant karma. The twin flame. Dark night of the soul could be one of the most intense spiritual experiences a person could have in this lifetime. If you've reached this difficult stage, it is an indicator that you are quite an old soul and that you're at the level at which your lessons will not be easy anymore. When you've reached this level, it could mean that you will also start experiencing instant karma for your actions, both related to your twin flame relationships and other situations as well. Instant karma means that you will reap what you sow very fast. You do good, good comes back to you the next day. Not years, decades, or future lifetimes, but very soon. When you do not so good actions, the same principles apply. If this instant karma happens in the relationship with your twin flame especially, then this is a clear indicator that you are dealing with the twin flame dark night of the soul. 7. All your fears are brought to the surface. During the twin flame dark night of the soul, events will unfold in such a way that you will get to face your fears one by one. Facing all of your fears in a certain amount of time can sound scary and overwhelming, right? It will most definitely be that way. But it is meant to happen like this to help you understand that you are bigger than whatever you fear, and that you can overcome anything. When I say all your fears, I am talking even fears from past lives, because they too get into the category of unlearned lessons. The attitude that will help you overcome this the most is the confidence that you can deal with whatever arises, also trying to see the higher purpose of everything. 8. All your emotional buttons will be triggered. Are you afraid of being alone? During your twin flame dark night of the soul, you will have to face your solitude. Are you afraid of reaching a certain age and not getting married? Guess what will happen? Do you hate liars and cheaters? Guess who you will meet over and over again? Are you unable to love? You will find the partners who mirror just that. Most likely, your twin flame, who could be going through the same process, or not, is going to push most of these buttons. This is why the twin flame dark night of the soul is a very dark process. There is nothing you get away with. Your twin flame is another part of your soul, so they will instinctively know what to do to put you in those situations in which you need to be put to see your triggers clearly. They will not do it on purpose, so try to forgive them, and just understand the process as it is. 9. Your perspective upon life shifts. During all this pain and chaos, everything you once believed to be true about yourself and life will change. The pain that comes with this twin flame dark night of the soul will help you develop more empathy, compassion, gratitude, and will help you understand the meaning of life at a whole new level. During this painful process, you will start understanding deeper spiritual truths and may have to give up on your old way of viewing life. During this time, you could also discover or rediscover your true spiritual purpose, as the main point of the twin flame dark night of the soul is to align you to your higher self and ultimately bring you together with your twin flame. 10. You discover your life purpose. The twin flame dark night of the soul is different from person to person. For some people, it can last weeks, for others years or decades. No matter how long this process lasts, the idea is that towards the end of it, you will start to understand why you had to go through all of it, and have a clear idea of what is your real spiritual purpose here on earth. We are all born with a divine mission. For some, this mission could be easier. For others, more difficult. Sometimes part of what we have to go through is spending years in darkness and confusion. This may not make much sense at first, but during these years of darkness and confusion, we learn how it feels to be dealing with the most excruciating circumstances in life. This way, we deepen our sense of empathy and compassion, and we understand how it feels to be in the shoes of other people whom we may have not understood before soul how to move through a twin flame. Dark night of the soul. The twin flame dark night of the soul is a very difficult life experience because it does encompass two of the most difficult spiritual experiences a person can face: the dark night of the soul and the twin flame journey. If you find yourself facing the twin flame dark night of the soul, the following pieces of advice could help you overcome it. 1. Seek support. Seeking support when you're dealing with the challenge of the twin flame dark night of the soul is crucial. Help could be in the form of a therapist, especially if you're dealing with anxiety and depression as a consequence of everything that is going on. Help could also mean talking to a spiritual advisor or having a very good support system, such as friends and family, who have your back no matter what. An important way of seeking help could be to talk to advisors who know how to help you deal with the dark night of the soul or with being on a twin flame journey, especially during the separation stage. You could seek advice from writers and advisors who are masters in reuniting twin flames. You could even go to a Reiki therapist and get some energy healing for yourself and your twin flame relationship. It doesn't matter which form of help appeals to you the most. What matters is that you take steps towards healing yourself. 2. Accept and understand your karmic lessons. Accepting and understanding your karmic lessons could be the key to overcoming the twin flame, dark night of the soul, faster. As this spiritual challenge is meant to help you cleanse your karmic baggage, having an honest look at the events that happened during your twin flame dark night of the soul and trying to understand the karmic lessons will help you go a long way. Also, make sure to not repeat the same karmic mistakes that were blocking you in one form or another. After understanding your karmic lessons, the next step is to accept and release them. Don't waste time thinking about why things had to happen a certain way or being angry about it. Just accept it and embrace the lesson, then watch yourself grow spiritually like never before. 3. Let go of you what you can't control. During your twin flame dark night of the soul, a lot of things that are out of your control will happen. Some will be related to your twin flame relationship, some will not. One attitude which is key to moving forward from this stage is releasing control. Don't try to force the union with your twin flame, or don't try to make other things happen if it looks like they are not in store for you. If you want to follow a program for reuniting with your twin flame, you can do that, but make sure the reason behind is not that you're trying to force the relationship in any way, but rather do it with love and acceptance and you will have the desired results. 4. Develop spiritually. One reason why you had to go through this through experience is to help you gain a deeper, more spiritual understanding of the world around you. Thus, it could happen that during your twin flame dark night of the soul, you will encounter spiritual people or find spiritual methods and teaching, which you are discovering with a very good reason. As this experience is meant to help you expand your view of life, you're also meant to explore teachings, philosophies, and ways of thinking that will help become wiser and more knowledgeable. They will also help you understand life from a more authentic spiritual perspective, and they are meant to guide you towards your higher purpose. Thus, my advice is to pay attention to all signs that the universe is putting in front of you during this time and don't consider anything a coincidence. Rather, take advantage of this opportunity to expand your horizons and acquire information that will turn you into a powerful spiritual being. To conclude, the twin flame dark night of the soul is a very difficult process that many old souls have to go through, and it could last from months to decades. Once you're in this process, you can never know how long it will last or what you meant to face. There are a few tips you can apply to ease this process for yourself, and if you do it, your life might just become easier. If you're currently experiencing your twin flame dark night of the soul, tell us about it in the comment section below, as we would love to hear about it and offer you more guidance.